Ben, I have a confession to make. I colored outside of the lines, so to speak.
Okay.
When I was supposed to be working on Garden of Terror, I got a little distracted. So if you guys haven't figured out, I'm a really old school guy. I like first edition D&D, and I was looking to the Dungeon Master's Guide, and I saw that famous scene by Trampier where the guy's riding on the horse and he's shooting the magic missile at the guy right in front of the Green Griffin bar or tavern.
Mm-hmm.
And I went, And we're playing a first edition D&D adventure set in the Keep on the Borderland. And I named that bar there the Wild Ass. And I thought, there could be a whole bunch of cool bars all over. We could just create them.
Yeah.
Which means I'll do the signs, and then Ben has to write all the cool stuff. So Ben, what I did is I made a whole bunch of them. Now, I invented 7, but I got a few of them just done. Okay, so I brought them with me today. So Ben's seeing this stuff for the first time too. Got the Green Griffin. So here's like a wooden plaque.
This is awesome.
Oh, thank you. And then Ben, this is the Wild Ass.
Oh, that is cool too.
Mm-hmm.
These are like done.
Yeah, these are done.
Dang.
And I thought of this would be something cool, like a nautical theme, and that's the Lonely Kraken. Now the contrast is not too high. To bump the contrast up on the finished one, so I know it's hard to see. I apologize for that.
I don't have trouble seeing it.
That's me staying up really, really late painting and going, the green looks pretty good, but it should have been lighter, and the blue should have been a little darker. And then I remembered years ago, you talked about that wizard bar with the pixies and stuff flying around. So I came up with Magnificos.
Ooh, fantastic.
Yeah. So
this is going to be a cool one because this is going to be a cool one.
Okay.
So
I got 3 more on the way. One of them's half done on my table.
Hi, we're back. So we've got 7 taverns done.
Oh yes, and that was the thing I sprung on you at the last.
Yeah, that was a surprise one.
I shocked Ben because I got a little carried away.
It was your turn to get carried away this time. I got carried away writing it, if that helps.
That's even better. Mm-hmm. So do you want to go through the taverns at all?
Yeah. So I wrote, some stuff at the beginning about how basically like these are just taverns that we wanted you to be able to put in anywhere, and going to the tavern is like such a important part of any D&D campaign.
Yes, you can't live without it.
Yeah. So you have to go there. It's a good place to like get quests and meet people, and have your party have a little bit of downtime. And but it doesn't need to be like a wasted session for D&D, right? Like you can do a lot of cool stuff with it. And one of the things that I really like doing when we go to taverns in D&D personally is I draw it on the map. We use a whiteboard instead of a board, but I draw the layout of the tavern, and it's like, here's what's this. These guys are sitting over here. These guys are sitting here. Here's the bar. Here's the door that goes up, the stairs that go up to the rooms that you can stay at or whatever. And it makes it like a mini dungeon basically.
Yeah.
But there's no monsters usually unless you run into some real bad characters.
Yeah.
So I thought of so for the purposes of this, I came up with 6 questions that you should ask yourself when you're building a new tavern. First one is, where's it located? What part of is it in the wilderness? Is it a little tavern in the wilderness, or is it in the heart of like a big city? Is it in like the residential district of the city, or is it in the downtown, or is it in like the adventurers section? Is
On the other side of the tracks?
Yeah, is it by the docks? Is it, like that can give you a lot of interesting like ways to kind of, or ideas for what goes inside of it. Second is, what does the building look like? That's important.
Yeah.
Because that immediately informs the party what they're getting into when they look at it from the outside. The third is, what's it like inside? Is it crowded? Is it empty? Is there music? Are people worried? Like if there's a big problem, like maybe some people will be concerned, or maybe people are in a good mood. Kind of also gives you an idea when you walk in the door what to look at. I always like to create the bartender as an NPC. What's the food? That is like a weird thing that you can use to kind of inform what's going on in the tavern. Do they have a place to stay? The fifth question is, what information do you as the DM want to give the party in this tavern, right? So a lot of times I'll like to have 2 quests, one main quest and maybe a side quest or something. And, question 6 is who else is in the bar, right? So you can populate it with some cool NPCs and stuff. they can have all different types of personalities, but at the end of the day, the party is going to, no matter who they talk to, they're going to get one of these two pieces of information, maybe both, depending on how social they want to be. So everybody kind of ties in together. And,
Yeah.
and we'll give you some examples of that as we're going through. So we have the first one.
The first one was from the original first edition D&D, and that was the Green Griffin.
Yeah, the Green Griffin.
And that's kind of how I got started on it. I was looking through my old books and I went, wonder what this place is like. This is a legendary Dungeons and Dragons bar.
Yeah, and it's an interesting thing. We had Steve Belladin, who was a magic card artist and a D&D artist, and he came to visit, and Brian was showing him this art, and he was like, Ben, I know you're not an artist. You have no idea how crazy this art is that Brian did, because Brian's painting all of this with gouache, and he was like, basically you have to paint the whole sign and then letter it and do the art and all the stuff on top of that.
And you have to mess it up.
Yeah, and then
to make
like
it look old.
Oh, we should hold it up again. The fading textures and stuff. He's painting that over top of the sign, and Steve is like, every little like stroke that he did of it, like showing the wood coming through the painting, was an opportunity for him to ruin his art that he'd spent all that time on. So it's like that's a fun thing. You can't control Z out of that when you're doing it with paint and not on digital.
Yeah, so Steve got a little crazy on us. Yeah,
he did.
Started yelling at me a little bit.
Okay, so for the Green Griffin, I put it in the adventurer's quarter of a big city, right? Busy streets, there's noisy inns, shops, all kinds of stuff going around, people bustling up and down the street all over the place. There's a turned over wagon with a bunch of fruit spilled outside of the place. Guys are trying to pick it up, put it in there. It's like the rowdiest place in this rowdy corner of the city. And as you're walking up, there's like two dudes out front, and like one guy's got a shirt over the other guy's head, and he's like punching him, and like you have to kind of move past this to go into the bar.
Sure, yeah. Welcome.
Yeah. So it's a big bar. It's rowdy. There's a couple bouncers by the door, like some big orc-looking dudes maybe. A bunch of bar wenches moving around. There's taxidermied monster heads on the walls, like different kinds of weird monsters and stuff. Mostly there's like some guards from the city, mostly like adventurers, people from out of town in there. They're singing, they're hanging out, they're talking. There's a board up in the corner with quests and stuff on it, which is an easy way to get the two quests you want to get off there. And then there's a back area where there's some dudes like playing cards or gambling. There's a dart board, one guy's back there throwing darts, a couple guys arm wrestling. And so the quest I had for here was basically like there's slavers in the area, and organized crime is like capturing people and selling them off to slavers and being taken out of the town. And there's a local noblewoman who's gone missing, and there's a reward for her return.
Oh.
So those are your two quests. Those are the only two pieces of information you're gonna get out of this tavern, but you never know like how you're gonna come about that. The party will feel like they have a lot more agency than they do because there's all of these people to talk to, and they don't even know where to start. So I have like I made a couple of NPCs to go with it. I made rules for the gambling game if you want to gamble with them.
Oh, that's great.
It was really easy. You roll 3d6 and you add it up, and whoever got the highest, I roll it against the player who's playing, and whoever gets the highest roll,
love it,
highest score wins.
Great.
It's just an easy way to do gambling that like isn't require having a whole sheet of paper.
Yeah.
If you want to arm wrestle, oppose combat maneuver checks. Easy. You want to do darts, you just make an attack roll against the guy who's throwing the darts. The guy who's throwing the darts, I have him as a big half orc named Chug Gruntfist, and he gets mad if he loses.
Of course he does.
He's not good at darts, and you'll notice that if you're looking at it, like the darts aren't really that good, and like your rogue will get up there and like try to show him up, and he'll get mad.
And hijinks ensue.
Hijinks will ensue. There's a halfling adventuring band in there. They're looking for this lost noble woman, so you can talk to them. They're kind of like subdued and kind of got their hoods up. There's a Sir Leopold, the Knight of Cups, is sitting at one of the bars with like a bunch of guys, and he's just like slamming drinks, and he's telling all these stories about being in the war. I fight better when I'm drunk.
Of course he does.
So he was friends with the noble woman, and he's like, a terrible thing that happened to her. She's gone, and there's a reward or whatever. It's on the board over there, and then there's a bunch of other people hanging out. One of them's like kind of shady. He's like one of the organized crime guys that you can talk to kind of get an idea for where the slaver deal is going on. And then that's kind of the Green Griffin. The bartender is an older elf woman, and she has a ring of detect magic items. and she will kind of like, with this bar, it's kind of a good way to like keep your party down a peg. Your party is the same character level as everybody in this bar. Your party's not going to want to start a fight in here because anybody in this bar has a good chance of beating up anybody in your party because they're all adventurers, they're all from out of town, they're all warriors, right? So, but she will like pick somebody who has some good gear, and she'll like, you know, maybe at some point can call them over, or if something ends up where they end up talking to her, she'll be like, oh, you know, like I've heard that there's like a real cool, you know, there's some treasure, like there's a group that's organizing for an adventure. Don't bring your friends, but like we're meeting out like after we close up, meet us in the alley behind the bar.
Yeah. Sure. And bring all your stuff.
Bring all
too.
your cool stuff. So that's what I came up with for the Green Griffin.
I love it. I think it's fantastic. Yeah.
All right.
The second one I did was the Wild Ass, and you know what a first edition maniac that I am.
Yeah.
And we played Keep on the Borderland, and so in the Keep they have a tavern there, and so I fleshed it out and I called it the Wild Ass. And well, Ben, why don't you tell them what the Wild Ass is all about? It's going to be fun.
Well, when we did the first half of this episode, Brian ambushed me with all of this art and was like, hey, do an episode based on this art that you've never seen before. So now I'm going to put you on the spot.
Okay.
And I'm going to give you the 6 questions that I just that I just mentioned. Where is the bar located?
The bar is located in the Keep on the Borderland. It is the tavern there. Next question.
Keep on the Borderlands is like a castle in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
It's like on a mountain.
I think it's B1 or B2, the old adventures. So all you old timers are going to know exactly what I'm talking about.
Oh no, I just mean the Keep itself is it's like isolated. It's not a big city or anything. It's just like a little castle.
Yeah, it's just a little castle. Mm-hmm.
What does the building look like?
The building is made out of stone and has a wooden roof. Mm-hmm.
And what's the atmosphere like inside?
The atmosphere is crowded mostly with soldiers who are kind of off duty on the keep. Most of them are kids, 18 to 22, and they're just idiots.
Yeah.
And other interesting characters. The bartender is an old he's a barbarian, and but he got high enough level where he can have magic items and things like that. And there's a big, huge hand and a half sword that's above the bar, and a shield with a big bite taken out of it.
Cool.
And he's an older guy. He looks like an old biker. Yeah, he's about in his 60s, but he's a very friendly guy. And if you buy him drinks, he becomes more friendly. The atmosphere is a very light-hearted atmosphere. The food is very good, and the woman, not who runs the bar, but the main server, is a half elf. And she has a charisma that's so high she can convince you to buy more beer.
And she will do that at every opportunity.
And she may or may not pick your pocket too. So. Yeah.
And then there's NPCs and there's quests.
Yes. The quest is of course the Caves of Chaos because that's the module. The NPCs, I had a half orc who's kind of like a tracker kind of guy. And then I had...
And he's the only guy that can get you to the caves.
Yeah, he knows where they are, and he knows where the Cave of the Unknown is. He's the only person that can get you there. And also I had a jewel dealer, a little gnome. And he's kind of like he runs the town bank. Not the town, but the Keep's bank. And he knows everybody. Everyone knows him. And he's all blinged out with all of his rings and his ermine coat and all that stuff. He's got plenty of money. And he will... trade gems and pay in cash. Of course, he needs his cut.
Yeah.
And
you could trade in gems, but he takes 10%.
Yeah, he takes 10%.
And like if you need anything, he's the guy you ask.
Yeah, he's the guy you want to know. Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah. So there we go.
There's the 6 questions.
Yeah. I got ambushed. That was good.
All right. What's next?
Next is the Dancing Rabbits.
Okay.
The Dancing Rabbits, and this was inspired by one of my art students. Valerie. So hi, Valerie.
One of our 4 Patreon subscribers.
Yes. Yeah. So she had drawn a picture of these 2 dancing rabbits, and I thought, what a great name for a bar.
I have that picture hanging up in my,
yes, you
in my
do.
house.
Exactly. So, Ben, why don't you tell us about the Dancing Rabbits?
Okay, so you kind of were like, all right, I see this as a safe place. Like, it's kind of a happy, nice place. So I think that you're in like an upper area of like a nicer area of town, right? More of like a noble district, kind of where more of like the the medium class to upper class people live. You're going in through like an arched gate, and there's little shops, little homes, stuff like that. And you pass. It's in the plaza with a statue to a famous explorer, and it's very relaxed. They have these high ceilings, timber framed. A lot of the stuff inside looks like it might have been elf carved or designed by elves. Quiet conversations. People are wearing nice clothes. They're sitting around. There's a fire. There's some really nice rooms upstairs. Bard playing like some soft music on a lute, kind of. And
sounds wonderful. Let's go.
Yeah, it sounds great. You can buy fine cheeses and wines and stuff like that. And the innkeeper is this very nice older woman, and she was a noble at some point, but her family lost their lands in the war. So, she just does this now. And the two quests I have here is there's an assassins guild in town, and one of the dudes here is the target of them.
Oh, interesting.
And there is a mines outside of town that they've stopped working because there's ghosts and stuff in there. And so you can run into the guy. He's very jittery, sitting in the corner. He'll pull a knife if you try to talk to him.
Oh,
he's worried about. He's a member of the Cartographers Guild.
Oh.
And all the cartographers are getting wiped out by the assassins.
Interesting.
Because he found their secret. The cartographers were mapping, and they found the secret lair of the assassins. So now the assassins are killing all of the cartographers.
Oh, interesting.
There's a very beautiful woman in the corner, and she's, she goes by Lady Briona. She's a clockmaker. She's got some stuff out in front of her at the table. She's eating. She's kind of looking around. If you talk to her, you later find out that she's not a clockmaker or a noblewoman. She's an assassin that's here to kill that guy.
I love it.
If you talk to her and you're an assassin, you can because in order to become an assassin class in Pathfinder at least, you have to complete an assassination contract.
Oh,
so
okay.
here's your opportunity to do that.
Okay.
You can follow that guy out.
You have to
and
make
whack
your
him.
bones.
Yeah. I put let's see, who else did I put in here? There's the only real warrior looking person. She's like sitting up at the bar. She's got a bunch of tattoos. She's drunk and she's like rambling on to the bartender about ghosts. And the bartender's kind of ignoring her. But she's there.
You can overhear the conversation.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And if you talk to her, you find out that she's there to figure out what's going on in the mines. And I put in, also in this bar, the other two adventurers are Antonio.
Oh, yeah.
I made an old character based on Antonio Banderas from Zorro.
Yes.
And he's just kind of like, he's always just like, hey, I'm Antonio. It's cool, man. We're good. He's just super chill, always very talkative. He's always like, he's going off to the mines also.
Love it.
And yeah, so if you go to the mines, you will find him in the mines in big trouble, and you have to like save him because you have to drag him out of there because he's just kind of a maniac. But he's very social and talking to everybody, and nobody's really interested in talking to him back.
Excellent. I love that. That sounds
All right.
great.
What do we got next?
Oh, we got The Lonely or the Lonely Kraken. And I thought this would be a cool thing for like a seaport, something like that. A little crustier, a little more dangerous, a little more edgy.
Yeah.
And that was kind of my feeling. And Ben, what did you come up with?
So it's on the docks, of course. Muddy, poorly maintained cobblestone road, ankle deep water, just garbage all over the street. Every side alley is like, it smells bad. There's like two guys standing outside the alleys like eyeing you, right?
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yep, terrible smell. Then there's a real nice pirate ship in the dock. It's called the Queen's Vengeance, and you recognize it when you look at it. It's Snaretooth the Black. He's an orc pirate.
I love it. Love it.
And so when you go in, like, it's rowdy. There's a lot of people talking. There's a piano playing. Everyone in there is armed and drunk and in a bad mood. But like, it's just basically, I'm more or less Port Royal from the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie, right?
It sounds almost like a powder keg. The
Yeah.
slightest thing could make the place go nuts.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so people are like, everybody's on the verge of like, dude in the corner doing the knife thing on his hands,
He's playing Mumbly Peg or whatever it is.
Yeah, exactly. So when you go in, the bar is like a regular bar, but it's decorated with shark teeth, which I thought was cool.
Yeah, I thought that was cool.
The bartender is like a big elf, but he's like jacked, and he's got a bunch of tattoos and stuff, and like he was from like an elf town, like a happy little elf town that got attacked by pirates, and he got pulled off by the pirates when he was a kid.
Oh, that's a great
And so he
story.
grew up as a pirate, so he's like a tough dude now, but he knows about the pirate stuff. And there's only 3 drink options: beer, whiskey, and hell brandy.
Oh, for Pete's sake.
And they're all poured out of unmarked, unwashed glass bottles.
Of course they are.
They're only 2 silver. There's no place to stay here. You can't bring...
It's just a place to drink.
Yeah. Hell brandy is a local drink that you have to make a fortitude save if you drink it, or
wow.
like you get all out of whack because it's not for human consumption. And so for the quests here, the 2 quests you can get, you can sail off on the Queen's Vengeance and become a pirate. There's like maybe you have to like, you know, and a lot of this is stuff you can work into your campaign, right? If you need to get them on a boat, the Queen's Vengeance is the ship that's going to take them wherever they need to go. So you can join Snare Tooth the Black's crew aboard the Queen's Vengeance, or you can start Dead Man's Bounty,
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's great.
which is episode 2 of our
Yes.
show,
Yes.
which you should watch.
Yeah, you need to watch that.
So, naturally, Coconut Crazy is in the corner. He's one of the dudes in this bar. And there's a...
Of course he is.
Yeah, there's I have 2 pirate brothers that are hanging out. And when you look at them, they look weird because their eyes are total black.
Oh, wow.
And they are were sharks,
Oh, wow.
which I thought could be a cool
I
thing.
thought that's a
I don't even know if that's a real thing, but I like
Yeah.
it and I want it in the
Yeah.
story.
I like that.
And then, you know, there's a couple dudes, a lot of sailors, like, you know, girls there that are like, you know, serving girls, wenches kind of thing. All kind of travelers. There's an assassin-looking dude who's a treasure hunter. A lot pirate-looking guys. And then the first mate of the Queen's Vengeance is there. He's missing an eye. He's missing a couple fingers. His name is Ooze Crank. He's got 2 bloody meat cleavers at his side.
Of course he does.
Yeah, and so like the party will go around and they can talk to a few of these people that we get, and if at some point like he'll just walk up to the bar and the bartender will immediately just pour hell brandy for him, and the guy will kind of look at the party eventually, like at some point after they've had a little bit of time to hang out in the bar, he'll look at them and he'll be like, "You guys look like you can handle yourselves. Do you want a job?"
Oh, I like that.
And the job is an impressment crew, which is this is a thing from you know. Or English history where
Yeah.
like you basically would just go around on the docks at night and beat up drunk guys and drag them onto your boat, and now they're pirates.
Yeah, now they're crew members.
Yeah, so he wants to hire you. He's like, you can handle yourself. You want a job, like, and then you could even do the thing where you make attack rolls on unarmored drunk dudes. And just have your party like knock a couple guys out and drag them on board the ship, and they're immediately cool with the pirates when they show up because they like helped Ooze Crank like grab a couple newbies for the shit.
Exactly. Love it.
That's the Lonely Kraken.
What a wonderful place. Now, this next one, Ben, is inspired by you.
Yes.
So this was called Magnifico's, and it's kind of like a bar where magic happens all the time, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So
Talk
here's
about Magnifico's.
what we came up with for Magnificos. It's by the Wizard Academy. It's the bar that's in the same district as like the Imperial Wizard Academy. So old statues from the ancient times all down the street, like all kind of magic stuff going, like floating stuff and like blue energy and all that kind of stuff you expect in like a wizardy area. Mage towers, very tall spires and stuff. There's like booksellers and you know the universities around there, that kind of stuff. And then this place is like a party bar. Loud music, magic light spells blasting, like there's like thumping bass, basically.
So it's basically like Saturday Night Fever.
Yeah.
D&D style.
Yeah, permanent like fairy fire, light spells in different colors going off, like just strobe lights coming out of the building. You go in there, the dude behind the bar goes by Magic Merlin, and he's like flipping bottles and stuff. And you go in and it's just like a huge dance floor. People are dancing. There's 2 levels. There's all kinds of music, and like it's just so loud you can barely hear. And the dude's like flipping bottles, and when you come in, he uses like a clairvoyance spell to figure out what kind of drink you want, and he just starts making it, but like the bottles are still dancing because they're animated, and he pours your drinks out for you, and he's just like, hey. And he goes back to pretending that he's flipping the bottles. He's just mage-handing them around.
That's great.
He puts 2 glasses out, he creates water so it fills the glasses up.
Oh, that's awesome. Love it. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah, let me know if there's anything Magic Merlin can do for you.
Sure.
So the 2 quests here, there's one that's just specific to this area. There's a guy here and he's a wizard and he's looking for this species of bird. You can help him find a species of bird. And then the wizard school has lost this magical talisman that they need for some of their research. So there's a reward for going to find that.
Excellent.
And, some of the guys in the bar is packed out with people, but there's like an old professor there, and he's like smoking a pipe, and he's like, I come to these places to feel young, but it rarely works.
I love it.
Yeah. There's, students are trying to study, or some of them are just partying. There's like a bachelorette party or something going on in there. I don't know. They're studying for tests and stuff. You run into, so the guy looking for the bird, his name is Merrimack Hedgehopper. He's a halfling. Of
course it is.
And he's drunk, and he's working on these books, and he's looking for I call it the Gentilix corax. It's a very rare species of raven.
Oh.
Well, if you go with him and you look for it, it's this giant, terrifying lightning bird, and you have to run away from it. But he still pays you for like your time. He's like, this is going in the book. And this thing's like blasting lightning bolts at you while you're running away.
Love it.
And then the other NPC I had in there was so the old graybeard can tell you about the talisman missing. All of the students studying know about it because they're like, oh, my research would be so much better if like my professor had this thing because he doesn't have time for me to help me with my test or whatever.
Gotcha.
And then I have Otmar Halgrim. He's a disgraced mage, but he's hanging out there, and he's like, I once slew the beast of Silidor, but you accidentally turned your wife's sister inside out one time, and you never live it down. Suddenly you're the bad guy.
Yeah. Wow.
So that's Magnificos.
Oh, love it. That's a lot of fun.
We're going on long here, but it's 7 taverns, so
Yeah,
it was
it's
a lot
7,
of work.
so we're getting
This
carried
is a
away.
long PDF, by
Yeah.
the way.
So number.
Also, you had to paint 7 paintings.
Yeah, I had 7 paintings.
And they can be used for $1 on our Patreon.
So now, Ben, we have a place called Medusa's,
Yeah.
and I was clueless when I came up with this. I just like the look of this particular one that I base it off of. But you came up with some really cool stuff.
Yeah. So Medusa's Fine Ales is what you called it. So I think it's like a brewery. They have they brew some other stuff there, and they have like their proprietary booze.
Yeah, that was the only thing that I had.
Yeah.
In my idea. Yeah.
Well, I liked for Medusa's that you walk. It's like more of like a quiet residential area, and you're walking up through it's got like a courtyard area. So the building is here, and then there's like a stone fence, stone wall around it. And when you walk in through the stone wall, there's this like very beautiful statuary outside, like some fountains and some like stone statues and stuff. And then you go up to this little cottage-looking place, and that's the brewery / tavern. But the statues were former adventurers that had been turned to stone by Medusas. And so either the Medusa was based here, or like the proprietor dragged the things here from the Medusa's lair.
Had them imported.
Yeah. If you have like a stone to flesh spell, you can revive them, and they'll tell you they've all were turned to stone 100 years ago, so they're all out of whack, and but they can tell you old stories or whatever. I don't know what the advantage is to like defrosting these guys, but you can do it, right? Because they're all real people that have been turned to stone. As you're walking up, though, you hear like some weird noises, some weird lights. There's a big crash before you go in the door. Like you can see like flashes of light and stuff going on. When you walk in, it's mostly wood paneled, like wood floors, wood bar, wood everything. Pretty big area, but the bartender is just kind of standing there, and she looks mad. And there's little pixies flying around everywhere. There's maybe a dozen little pixies flying around. So there's a guy sitting in the corner, and he's trying to draw a picture, and they're taking the drawing and taking it away from him. Some people are trying to play cards, and like the pixies are like pulling at their ears and stealing cards and flying around, and everybody's kind of annoyed and in a bad mood. The dwarf with like his servants are like swatting them, like the dwarf priests are kind of swatting at him, and it's just anarchy in there. It's complete chaos when you go in. And the sprites will mess with the party. They can color spray, they can reduce person, they can uncontrollable hideous laughter spell.
That's
They
great.
can command, and they can do a spell called Touch of Idiocy, which makes you reduces your intelligence.
I thought that was the name of the drink.
It should be. That's their IPA.
Yeah. I thought it was a pale ale.
Yeah, the Touch of Idiocy reduces your intelligence, wisdom, and charisma by a d6.
Oh, that's wonderful. I love it.
And so these things mess with you, and when you talk to the bartender and are like, what's going on, you notice that like she's got a very deep voice, and she's dressed in like men's clothing, and she's like, yeah, we're having a dispute with the other bar up the road, the Witch and Chariot. which is run by magic users. So the bartender, his name is Steve, stole some booze kegs from the other tavern nearby, and then they did a sex change spell on him, and then he sabotaged their tavern, and then they released all the pixies in his tavern.
So it's a little tavern war.
And so the quest here is you got to solve this dispute between these two bars.
Oh, love it.
There's money in it. Just talk. You have to go. Basically, all you have to do is go to the other bar and like convince that person, and just get them together and have them talk it out, and then they'll reverse everything, and everything will be back to normal. Or you can just ignore this and leave.
Yeah.
But like, there's just anarchy, right? It's just a tavern war between these two taverns, and the quest is to solve this problem.
Oh, that sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we got one more.
Okay, we got one more, and this is my favorite. The Golden Wiener. Okay? So I got this idea, I think I said this in the last one, is that I went to Germany many years ago, and they have like a chain of restaurants called Wienerwald, which is World of Wieners. And I thought, look, if Germany can have a world of wieners, we can have one wiener bar in D&D. Okay? Just one. And so, but I thought it'd be funny if this was like a snob bar, where the snobs are in there out snobbing the other snobs. And what'd you come up with, Ben? So I'm dying to hear this one. Okay?
Basically, it's the same thing you came up with, right? It's in obviously the very rich part of town, all the noble houses, the villas with like you're downtown, but they've got gardens that are overlooking the water or whatever. Ivory towers, blue cupolas everywhere, very well paved. There's guards everywhere. There's people in like aristocratic nobles and like their servants running around all over the place, scribes and stuff, big estates, big gardens and stuff like that. And there's just a line out the door for this place. And so for the Golden Wiener is the quest, and you find this place because you're being told to go there to meet a guy or steal a thing or do something. There's something you have to do here. And there's lines going out the door. It's all very see and be seen. This place is like, I picture it being on like
Club 54 type of thing. Yeah,
like Hollywood Boulevard. Everybody who's anybody's here. You've got elf nobility from the next empire over in line for it. Everybody wants to be here. And so the quest here is for you to find a way, you bunch of grubby adventurers in like dirty bloodstained armor, and you've got to find a way into this place. Then you got to talk to the guy or get the guy alone, whatever it is you have to do to the person inside. Right, he's probably a very wealthy nobleman. He's got a reservation here. Reservations are made like 6 months in advance. So you got to find a way to break in, sneak in. Like there's guards everywhere. The place is a fortress, and you got to get in, find this guy, ask him your favor, or steal the thing from him, or whatever you have to do, and get out.
Oh wow!
Everything's expensive. 200 gold a plate. Poached to Phoenix with boysenberry tart.
Of course.
And sausages.
Okay,
sausages.
that's right. Plenty of sausages. Yeah.
So that's Golden Wiener.
That sounds fantastic, man. Those are awesome.
So that's it. That's 7 taverns for a D&D campaign that all have very different feels, very different functions,
Yeah.
right? And very different, things that you can do inside of them. So just all of it's kind of more or less to show that there's so many cool different things you can do to make a tavern adventure not
just downtime.
Yeah, not just you guys sitting around at a bar, you have a drink, it's 2 gold, and then you can, do you need to sell some stuff? You can do that, you can do this.
Yeah.
It's a cool way for you to build flavor for the town that they're in, give out quests, have some cool stuff, have the party interact with different things. Like the half-orc's going to get along a lot better in the Lonely Kraken than he is in the Golden Wiener.
Yeah, absolutely.
But your bard's going to love being seen at the Golden Wiener, right?
Yeah. It's going to give him status points.
Yeah, they play to different abilities. Your bard's not going to be very popular in some of the more rowdy bars.
Exactly.
But so we thought that was a kind of a cool way to.
Yeah, we think you guys are going to have a lot of fun with this.
Yeah. So we've if you go to the Patreon, there'll be PDFs of all of this stuff there, and hopefully it gave you also some good tools for building early. It doesn't take that long. What's 6 questions, right? What's the building look like? Who's in there? What are you trying to convey with it? And that should be it.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you guys.
Bye-bye.